The Omega class was produced at the end of the Earth-Minbari War and benefited greatly from wartime experience. Earth Force would introduce the class shortly after the end of the war, and the class would in many ways be seen as a continuation of the preceding Nova design, and used much of the same space frame architecture and hull components. The Omega class measured in at 1,714 meters long, was crewed by over 1,200 officers and men, with propulsion provided by a quartet of Baiji Bryant 9000A particle thrust engines. The ship being armed with 4 520mm plasma pulse cannon, 6 laser batteries, and 12 400mm pulse cannon, with provision for an extensive missile battery and mine-laying gear fitted. Finally, Omega-class ships had provision to embark up to 2 full squadrons of Star Furies. During the Earth-Minbari War, Earth Force would suffer nearly disastrous losses at the hands of the Minbari fleet, which enjoyed qualitative, technological, and experience advantages versus Earth Force, a fact which the Earth Alliance was acutely aware of throughout the conflict, despite their best efforts to address the imbalance. These efforts would only bear fruit in the years immediately after the end of the war, as Earth Force had the time to fully process the war's lessons and process the human cost of the war. And the Nova class would serve as the basis of the new design as it was at the time of the most current Earth Force capital ship. Arguably the most important innovation the new destroyer would feature would be a new targeting array, which was, in theory, capable of targeting Minbari warcruisers, a capability which Earth Force ships had previously lacked due to the advanced stealth capability possessed by Minbari vessels. The ship's weapons would also have several features which allowed them to more effectively damage Minbari ships. The result of all these innovations was a vessel capable of, in theory, fighting even the largest Minbari capital ships with a reasonable chance of victory. Despite having a rushed design and development cycle due to the desire to get the new ship into service as soon as possible, no Omega class would see service by the time of the war's end, despite efforts to rush construction of early production vessels into service ahead of the pivotal Battle of the Line, these ships entering service shortly after the end of the conflict. Post-war, as Earth Force rushed to complete as many of the new ships as possible, alongside many new members of prior generations of warship as the Navy sought to rebuild its almost totally depleted naval forces, Omega-class ships, due to their great expense and time taken to produce, would be something of a rare sight in Earth Force formations for some time, though they would gradually overtake older designs as the mainline warship for humanity. During the Earth Alliance Civil War, the Clark administration would modify the Omega-class design using shadow biotechnology, this resulting in the so-called Advanced Omega-class destroyer, an unknown number of these ships being produced and seeing service during the war. The ships would begin to be replaced at the end of the Civil War by the newer and much more capable Warlock-class destroyer, a design which, in addition to using some shadow technology, made extensive use of shared Minbari technology, resulting in a ship capable of generating its own artificial gravity, in addition to other much enhanced capabilities. The culmination of purely human-designed warships, the Omega class represented the pinnacle of wartime Earth Force design. Being built to fight Minbari warcruisers and stand the slimmest chance of winning, the ship entered service too late to fight the war, but would later go on to see much service in later conflicts the Earth Alliance found itself in. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a like. Drop a comment about what you think of the Omega class, what you think of Babylon 5 in general. It's a less common show in the sort of sci-fi space, but really interesting and cool. What else? Let's see. I have a Patreon. You can find that linked down below. Support me there. You get videos a day in advance, typically. This video actually went out a day in advance, so you can watch them there. There's also updates and things like that, should you have a desire to. You can do votes, all of those sorts of things. And yeah, click the link. That's pretty much all I've got to say. Goodbye.